Hey everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video I'm really excited to do. This video topic came in from a subscriber on a past video. This is from Miss Guitar Chick. She said, can you do a video on deceiving packaging that did not correlate with what is inside? I thought this would make for a really fun video idea. I've actually seen one of my friends here on YouTube do this several months ago. It was Kelly Gooch. She has such great videos and great topics. I will link that video down below. And I remember seeing it and thinking like, I want to do this too. And then I just never got around to it. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about especially eyeshadow palettes that I don't think matched the packaging with what was on the inside of the palette. And then I also thought it would be fun to talk about maybe some releases that maybe just didn't make a lot of sense, kind of like a 2-for-1 in this video, because as I was thinking about some packaging that maybe didn't make sense to what was inside, it also related to, I just felt like the timing of the release was coming at a weird time. So I felt like those two kind of topics could go hand in hand. Also, I really wanted to get some of your feedback on this topic too. You know, one thing I say in my videos is I really look forward to the comments and to having discussions, and I kind of want to start bringing you guys into more videos before I sit down to film them and really get your feedback and your ideas. You know, I also recently saw Emily Noel, and also just this morning Kelly Gooch, as I'm filming this morning, Kelly Gooch also posted the hot takes video, kind of reacting to bold statements or maybe some unpopular opinions with the makeup industry or the beauty community. And I think it's a lot of fun to have, you know, the people who are watching and the viewers, you know, kind of sound off on different things or give your opinions and then to work them into a video. So I really wanted to include that aspect in today's video too. So I wrote down some of my ideas and then I asked for your suggestions via my Instagram stories. And there was a lot who had the same ideas as me, and there was a lot of others that I felt like had some interesting conversation pieces for this video too. So thank you to everyone who replied in. I will try to be including your answers, if you will, down below. But yeah, we definitely have a lot to chat about today. So if that sounds interesting to you, why don't we go ahead and get started. So one palette that came to my mind pretty quickly when I was thinking about this video was from Nabal Cosmetics, and this was the Poison Garden palette. So I'm gonna go ahead and scoot over, and I will put a photo of like the outer packaging, which a lot of times we see the outer packaging first, right? So sometimes it gets exciting to like, oh, you see the outer packaging, you already get an idea of what's in your mind, what you think the inside shades are going to be. I will say a lot of times the inside of the palette to me matches the packaging, or it's, you know, pretty on par with what I could have expected. You know, you kind of have a theme going on. But there's definitely times where you see the inside and you think, wait, it was to that? Like, what? Are you sure? And I felt like, for whatever reason, not to like pick on Nabal Cosmetics, but that release was one of the first things that came to my mind, because I can remember seeing the outside and then seeing the inside and thinking, how did these match up? I was thinking with the outer packaging, it just looked kind of like dark and mysterious and like Poison Garden, like, ooh. And then inside it's like, it was a pretty palette. Like, I liked the inside of it, I liked the shades. I just truly didn't feel like the packaging and the name made sense to the inside and what the shades actually ended up looking like. So I was actually a little bit confused on that one. Another one that I thought of pretty quickly, we talk about these a lot in my Will I Bite videos, was the Zodiac Palettes from ABH Cosmetics. And I thought it was funny because at first I was like, okay, and did it just pop into my mind because maybe not all of the palettes, like, is it just like a personal thing for me, right? That's what I was thinking. Like, is it just a personal thing? Like, should you really include that? And then I asked on my Instagram stories, and so many of you have said the ABH Zodiac Palettes. That's probably the #1 answer at this point. And I was like, okay, so it's not just me. So I still did want to include it. And I think it's because some of them I felt like did do a better-ish job of, you know, referencing the Zodiac and making sense to the Zodiac, but I just feel like a lot of them kind of like fell short of maybe what I was expecting, you know, especially because I am an Aries. I was really looking forward to seeing what the Aries palette was, and when I saw it, I was just kind of like, not maybe what I was expecting for like a fire sign. I don't know. I feel like maybe a lot of the BH palettes were maybe meant to be, and I don't like to use the term beginner friendly, because what does that even mean, right? Like, we're all in different stages and whatnot with makeup, but maybe someone who didn't really want like a very like oomph, colorful, you know, pack a punch type of palette, because there's definitely a lot of people that don't like. I like more neutral palettes and you know, all of that, but I think I was thinking especially for certain signs, like the palettes would be a little bit different, and a lot of them kind of, I was like, okay. So those were the BH palettes. So one that I thought of right away, and why I wanted to make this palette or this video not just about palettes and like packaging matching the inside, but kind of also like confusing releases maybe, that I felt like the timing was kind of off, is because one palette that I thought of was the Colourpop California Love palette. And you know, when I see the outer packaging, like obviously, you know, these are kind of like palm trees for California, so it's like, okay. But what I got most confused about with this collection was this was announced, or you know, this was to be the Colourpop summer collection, and when I opened up this eyeshadow palette, or when I saw the first, you know, inside photos of this eyeshadow palette, I was like, this is a fall palette. Like, to me, this screamed fall. And what I think is funny is just the other day on the Colourpop Instagram, they posted a photo of like, who's ready for fall, like almost time for fall, and it was going along with this palette, and I was like, but this was your summer collection, this was your summer palette. That didn't make any sense to me. Like, what? So even though I think the palette is very pretty, I like the palette, I like these shades inside, I didn't understand them saying that this was their summer palette. So that is also why I wanted to extend the video and just kind of cover the two different topics here. But there was a couple people on my Instagram stories that, again, did say this palette specifically because it looks like a fall palette that was not even just released in the summer, but was being touted as their summer collection palette. Just kind of odd. Another palette that I thought of was this one here from Becca Cosmetics. This was the Volcano Goddess palette. So looking at the outer packaging, and it's called Volcano Goddess, I'm thinking like there's just, it's gonna be, again, kind of almost like a little bit more of like a fiery palette, maybe like some reds and some oranges, and that's kind of where my mind went to. And we have some of these like deeper shades, like maybe some smoke in here. I feel like the inside of the palette was like halfway to that theme, but I feel like Becca could have taken that theme even farther, because again, like, so we have, you know, this really pretty shade called Lava here that's more of your orange shimmer, and then a gold, and then, you know, some of these like maybe smoke shades here. But I just felt like there could have been even more that could have gone farther with the Volcano Goddess theme. Again, I feel like they did a better job naming the shades in here. Volcanic Sand, Lava, Crater, Red Rock, Diamond Dust. Like, I feel like they did a really great job naming the shades to go along with the Volcano Goddess theme, but I felt like it could have just taken it a few steps further. You know what I'm saying? So that one is the Becca Volcano Goddess. And then another one that I thought of pretty quickly actually with this one, and I've seen a few of you mention it too, is from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and that is the Riviera palette. So when I first saw the outer packaging for this palette, my mind immediately went to like, there's gonna be a really amazing kind of like navy blue in here. When I think of like a nautical theme with like the stripes and again the outer packaging, I think of that navy blue. That's just where my mind goes to. So that's really what I was expecting, and you don't have that in this palette. This is definitely a very colorful palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and there's really pretty shades in here, and you know, we have this pretty Mediterranean blue and, you know, some other fun pops of color, but I was really expecting to see that shade in there. I don't know, was anyone else that way? I mean, that's what I was thinking when we actually saw the inside. I was like, wow, that is one color that I really expected to see in this palette, especially with the packaging. I just thought it would be in there. So you know, I was a little bit surprised at that. And then also with Anastasia Beverly Hills, I've been a little bit surprised at their amount of releases, and I've mentioned this in the Will I Buy It, and how quickly items are coming on the heels of things. With the Riviera palette in particular, I thought it was interesting that we got the Riviera palette, and then I believe it was the next release, or it was really close to one another, that they released their collaboration palette with Alyssa Edwards, and that palette was fairly similar to the Riviera. I mean, obviously they weren't like, you know, exactly the same, but kind of the colorful theme and all of that, it was just interesting to have those two releases be so close to one another and be so similar to each other. And then once again, you know, I mentioned this recently in the Will I Buy It video, the Jackie Aina collab palette coming so close on the heels of the Norvina palette, or really I think I should say that the opposite, because the Jackie Aina came first and then the Norvina was announced, and it was just so close to Jackie's palette that I was kind of like, wow, that is a little bit surprising to me. To have, you know, those two, I mean, those are two pretty big releases, I think. So to have them come so close and be announced so closely to one another, I thought, what, like, with Anastasia, and this is one that a lot of you guys have said too in the Instagram stories, is a lot of you have mentioned the Anastasia releases coming so quickly, and it's interesting to me because I felt like I used to be really excited for the Anastasia palettes because, you know, it wasn't like Colourpop, you know, like we weren't getting a new palette every single week. So when it was announced that Anastasia was coming out with a new palette, there was almost like this excitement factor with it, like, oh, you know, I can't wait to see what it's gonna be. And, you know, I would purchase those palettes, Modern Renaissance, the original Norvina, the Sultry palette, the Soft Glam. Like, I was excited and I was pumped up, and now I'm kind of like, oh, you know, it's like another Anastasia palette's coming out. Like, we're just getting so many of them, and, you know, especially because Anastasia can be a little bit higher priced, it just doesn't excite me the same way as I feel like it's used to excite me, if that makes sense. So actually a new release that kind of surprised me a little bit was actually the Natasha Denona Mini Gold palette. When I saw the black and white photo that the Mini Gold was coming, I immediately had colors in my head, right? I was like, oh, you know, because she has her the bigger gold palette. So when I'm looking at the gold palette, I don't know, for some reason I was thinking maybe like a pop of blue would be in the mini because there's a couple pops of blue in the bigger gold palette. I really wasn't expecting that green. Like, that came out of nowhere to me. I don't know if anyone else thought that. I'm not mad about it, and I really like that green. I'm very, like, that shade is kind of what's like selling the palette to me right now, so I'm definitely not mad about it, but I was not expecting a green to be in there. I don't know, was anyone else? I was a little bit surprised to see that. So when I was thinking about some of the newer releases that are coming out, I was actually pretty surprised at the color selection in the Mini Gold. So I would love to hear your feedback there, or if, you know, if you had, you know, certain ideas that maybe you had in mind too. Things by the Berk wrote in and said, I didn't understand why Too Faced re-released the Gingerbread palette in the middle of summer. I would agree with that, and some other people have written in to say like the Too Faced like coming out with their holiday collection in September is very confusing. I also agree with that too. When I saw about the Gingerbread palette coming back, I was a little bit confused. And yes, like the holiday releases being available now, it's not just Too Faced that's releasing holiday. I mean, my last Will I Buy It video had so many holiday releases in there, it was super overwhelming. What's crazy is like we haven't even officially hit the autumn season, and you know, we don't even have Halloween here yet, and now we're talking about all of these different holiday releases. It definitely is a little bit confusing. This is from johavch. She said the Red Warm palette by KKW, it was delayed by about 2 years. I would agree, that was the Fire collection that came out from KKW Beauty, and I know when I saw that one, I was just kind of like funny head tilt, because there was a time where like the Fire palettes in the very like warm toned like orange and reds were super popular. A lot of different brands were releasing them. Then it was like 2 years later, KKW Beauty comes out and it's like, oh my gosh, it's the Fire collection. It's like, okay, like it just seemed like really out of touch for, you know, you definitely see trends in the industry, and you know, a lot, you know, like brands will come out with a bunch of foundations all at once, a bunch of eyeshadow palettes maybe with a similar theme all at once, like I was saying, the neutral with the pop of blue, like that just happens. There's trends in, you know, different industries, in the beauty industry, in the fashion industry, there's trends, and you know, there's people who get paid to be like trend casters, forecasters for trends. You know, it is their job to like be on the pulse of what's going to be new and in at that time. And I mean, look at like, you know, hair scrunchies, hoop earrings, I mean things like that were in trend and then go out, and then they come back in trend, and then they go out, and then something else new comes in trend. That is what happens. So especially to see like KKW Beauty just be so far behind on that one, I was like, I don't know, maybe she's like trying to like cycle it back again, like now this is gonna be another trend again, but that was a little odd. Amy Hansen, you have quite a few in here, but one you said was the Juvia's Place Warrior 3. There have been a couple of the Juvia's Place palettes that have kind of like, you know, like caught my attention in kind of like a type of way. So for me, one of them was the Nubian 3 Coral palette. I was really excited when I saw the outer packaging of this and it had coral in the title, and I just really thought it was going to be maybe like, I don't think I was expecting like a full monochromatic palette, because we don't really have those a ton from Juvia's Place, but I think I was expecting maybe a little bit more coral on the inside. So that was one that actually kind of got me too. I was kind of like, huh, that was not what I was expecting from the inside of that one. And I was scrolling up a little bit, I saw Sammy, you also mentioned the Juvia's Place Nubian, the Coral 3 palette, also Finding Life's Beauty. You said the Juvia's Coral palette was a lot more neutral than I thought they would have put out. You know, again, I agree with that, especially with Juvia's Place being so much more of a colorful brand. I really thought that they just, I just was expecting something a lot different from that Coral palette too. Let's see. Oh, Jamie said the Becca Volcano palette that came out last holiday, packaging didn't match. I once again agree with that too. Finding Life's Beauty, you also said last year's Tarte holiday collection still confuses me. Pineapples for holidays. I do remember when the collection came out and it was all this different pineapple stuff. I remember feeling confused because to me pineapples kind of signify like summertime or like the beach or like vacations or something like that. I don't, you know, for me living in the US, you know, we have snow in the wintertime and cold weather and all of that. To me, that's like the opposite of a pineapple. Like pineapple to me is like vacay. And so when I was seeing that for holidays, I did kind of had that head tilt reaction as well, like, kind of confused here. So those were a few of your comments over on my Instagram stories. Thank you so much to anyone who wrote in over there. Like I said, I kind of would like to do some more of these videos bringing in your comments, and I'll probably just switch it up on my different platforms. You know, I'm obviously really active on YouTube, on Instagram, and also on Twitter. So if you guys like this idea of, you know, kind of contributing to the videos as well, let me know, because I can definitely do more, and I'll try my best to kind of spread it out to get some of your feedback across all three of those platforms that I mentioned. But I just thought it would be fun to get some of your feedback too, and to hear some of your ideas, and also to see if anyone did agree with me on some of this stuff too, because like I said, I always ask for your opinion in the comments, and sometimes I'm like, oh, it would have been fun to like have your thoughts even before I was sitting down to film. So just wanted to try something a little bit different, and you know, thank you for the idea for this topic on you know, packaging that's a little bit more deceiving and kind of spiraling that into releases that maybe timing wise didn't make the most sense to me. But of course, I'm sure that you guys are going to have so many more comments and suggestions for some of these products down below, so please do make sure to leave them in the comments, because I would love to get them. If you do have any other video ideas for me, if you would like me to do the hot takes video, please just let me know. I'm always open to your suggestions, of course. But other than that, if you guys did enjoy today's video, I hope that you'll give this one a thumbs up. I hope that you'll also consider subscribing before you go, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.